Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are out here at Rose Hill Cemetery in Macon, Georgia, and we're here to visit not one grave, multiple graves, even though the title card's only going to have the one name on it. There's a whole lot of history here as far as Southern rock and any kind of anything to do with the Allman Brothers. This is kind of like ground zero for where they're at. So let me get the ad out of the way and say, if this is your first time here, hey, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all those things. And if this isn't your first time here, hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's walk around this cemetery. We're going to see what there is to offer. It's been here since 1840-ish, so there's some history. This is the Confederate Memorial. There's always one of these in every little southern town. And from what I've noticed, they don't cut a lot of grass here, so we got some stomping to do, but that's okay. It's supposed to be very historic. We're going to see what historic is. The only thing I have noticed is right down here, there's a tombstone. Like, we'll get this camera turned around here in a minute, but I wanted to show you this. Right there, I'm going to zoom in. In memory of Duke, he was a horse. I think that's a first. I think that's a first on the channel. Plus, this graveyard is there's a lot of hills in it, so everything is all like built up. Like everybody made their own mounds. See, I'm gonna get this camera turned around. We'll walk around, we'll talk about Mr. Allman's life, we'll celebrate his life. Then at the end of it, we'll go visit the grave and do all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get it going. So I forgot to mention in the intro, like this is that spot in between where I'm like, hey, let's turn the camera around and let's do the thing. Put your favorite Gregg Allman song, whether it's Allman Brothers, Gregg Allman, the thing with him and Cher that didn't really do too well. Yeah, just throw that in the comments. So I had to point that out. Now let's do the video. So we did the intro right down there, drove on up, and this is the view from the top. Born on December 8th, 1947 at St. Thomas Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. Their dad, Willis, offered a hitchhiker a ride home and was subsequently shot and killed in Virginia. Gregg's mom, Geraldine, moved to Nashville with her two sons and never remarried. Lacking money to support her children, she enrolled in college to become a certified public accountant, a CPA. State laws at the time, according to her son, required students to live on campus. So here's the they got the whole shebang. All right. It's a great, like, you can really see the hill over there. So as a result, Gregg and his older brother were sent to Castle Heights Military Academy in nearby Lebanon. Allman felt largely depressed at the school. With little to do, he studied often and developed an interest in medicine. Had he not gone into music, he hoped to become a dentist. How strange. Well, we wouldn't have known, right? But how we would have come here, maybe he would have been here in Macon, right? Gregg Allman Dentistry. Gregg and his brother Duane moved to Daytona in '59. Allman would later recall two separate events in his life that led to his interest in music. In 1960, the two brothers attended a concert in Nashville with Jackie Wilson headlining alongside Otis Redding, B.B. King, and Patti LaBelle. Gregg worked as a paperboy to afford a Silverstone guitar, which he purchased at Sears when he saved up enough funds. Like his brother, he was left-handed but played the guitar right-handed. He and his brother often fought to play the instrument, though there was no question that music brought the two together. In Daytona, they joined a YMCA group called the Y-Teens, their first experience performing music with others. He and Duane returned to Castle Heights in their teen years, where they formed the band The Misfits. He returned to Daytona and pursued music further, and the duo formed another band, The Shufflers. In 1963, he attended high school. They later formed their first real band, The Escorts, which performed a mix of top 40 and R&B music at clubs around town. Gregg and Duane often spent all their money on records as they attempted to learn songs from them. The group performed consistently as music became their entire focus. Gregg missed high school graduation because he was performing that evening. In his autobiography, Gregg recalls listening to Nashville R&B station WLAC at night and discovering artists such as Muddy Waters, who later became central to his music evolution. He avoided being drafted into the Vietnam War by intentionally shooting himself in the foot. The Escorts evolved into an Allman Joys, the brothers' first successful band. After a successful summer run locally, they hit the road in fall of '65 for a series of performances throughout the Southeast. Their first show outside of Daytona was the Stork Club in Mobile, Alabama, where they were booked for 22 weeks straight. Afterwards, they were booked at the Sahara Club in nearby Pensacola for several weeks. Allman later regarded Pensacola as a real turning point in his life, as it was where he learned to capture audiences, about stage presence, and just how to put on a show. He soon grew tired of performing covers and began writing original compositions. They settled in St. Louis for a time, where in the spring of '67 they began performing alongside Johnny Sandlin and Paul Hornsby, among others, under various names. They considered disbanding, but the manager of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band convinced the band to relocate to LA, giving them the funds to do so. So the manager of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band arranged a recording contract with Liberty Records in June of '67. 1844, huh? The Hebrew Burial Ground. How about that? And began to record an album under the new name Hourglass, suggested by their producer Dallas Smith. Recording was a difficult experience. The band had no life into it. It was poppy, pre-programmed crap, Allman said. Never been inside a Hebrew. The Hebrew Burial Ground, established in 1844, Macon's first Jewish cemetery, restored in 96. 57-56. Because they have their own calendar. After some personal changes, they recorded their second album, Power of Love, released in '68. This is cool. It contained more original songs by Allman, though they still felt constricted by its process. The band broke up with Duane, explicitly told off executives at Liberty. They threatened to freeze the band so they would be unable to record for any other label for 7 years. Allman stayed behind to appeal to make the label happy. The rest of the band mocked him, viewing him as too scared to leave and return to the South. Meanwhile, Duane began doing session work at Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, where he began putting together a new band. He phoned his brother with the proposition of joining the new band, which would have 2 guitars, 2 drummers. With his deal at Liberty fulfilled, he drove to Jacksonville in March of '69 to jam with the new band. So the Allman Brothers Band moved to Macon, where we're at, and forged a strong brotherhood, spending countless hours rehearsing, consuming psychedelic drugs, and hanging out right here in Rose Hill Cemetery, where they would write songs and more. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have my way with a lady or two down here, said Gregg Allman. In addition to Gregg, the band included Duane, his brother, Dickie Betts on guitar, Barry Oakley on bass, and Butch Trucks on drums. Gregg, who had struggled to write in the past, became the main songwriter, composing songs such as Whipping Post, Midnight Rider, and so on. With the group's self-titled debut album was released in November of '69, but suffered from poor sales. So their fortunes began to change over the course of '71. When the band's average earnings doubled, we realized that the audience was a big part of what we did, which couldn't be duplicated in a studio. A light bulb finally went off. We needed to make a live album. At Fillmore East, recorded at the Fillmore in New York, was released in July of '71. The Fillmore East peaked at number 13 on Billboard Top Pop Albums chart and was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America. Allman married Cher in June of '75, and the two lived in Hollywood during their years together as tabloid favorites. He recorded his second solo album, Playing Up a Storm, with the Gregg Allman Band and it was released in '77. He also worked on a collaborative album with Cher titled To the Hard Way, which upon its release was a massive failure. Turmoil began to overwhelm their relationship. The two divorced in '78. Allman returned to Daytona to stay with his mother, spending the majority of his time partying, chasing women, and touring with the Nighthawks, a blues band. The Allman Brothers Band reunited in 1978. Allman remembered that each member had their own reasons for rejoining, though he surmised it was a combination of displeasure with how things ended, missing each other, and the always got to have that money, right? The band's reunion album, Enlightened Rogues, was released in February of '79 and was a mild commercial success. The band breaking up again in '82. By '86, having grown tired of financial instability, Allman approached Betts for a co-headlining tour, a sort of Allman Brothers reunion. The Allman Brothers Band celebrated its 20th anniversary in '89, and the band reunited once more for a summer tour. They feature guitarist Warren Haynes and pianist Johnny Neal, both from the Dickie Betts Band, and bassist Alan Woody. The band returned to the studio with longtime producer Tom Dowd from 97 Turns, which was considered a return to form. The band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in January of '95. Allman was severely inebriated and could barely make it through his acceptance speech. He was immensely happy to finally quit alcohol, writing later in his autobiography, "Did I get anything positive out of it? And you got to admit to yourself, no, I didn't. You can see what happened, and that by the grace of God, you finally quit before you kill yourself." The band released their final studio album, Hitting a Note, in 2003 to critical acclaim. Allman co-wrote many of the songs on the record with Hayes and regarded it as a favorite album by the group since their earliest days. The band continued to tour throughout the 2000s, remaining a top touring act. In 2014, the Allman Brothers performed their final concert as Haynes and Derek Trucks desired to depart the group. Allman struggled with health problems during the last years of his life. He was diagnosed with hepatitis C in 2007, which he said he got from a dirty tattoo needle. By the next year, 3 tumors were discovered within his liver. He was on a waiting list, and after 5 months, he went a successful liver transplant in 2010. In 2011, he went public with his hepatitis C. He headlined Merck and the American Liver Foundation's Tune In to Hep C campaign to raise awareness and urge baby boomers to get tested. However, his health problems remained. He had atrial fibrillation, and though he kept it private, his liver cancer returned. He attempted to keep a light schedule at the advice of doctors who warned that too many performances may amplify his conditions. His last concert took place in Atlanta at his own laid-back festival with ZZ Top at the Lakewood Amphitheater on October 29th, 2016. Here we go. Here we go. Gregg Allman died at his home in Richmond Hill, Georgia on May 27th, 2017. So there's Butch. Obviously the gate's locked, as it should be, to keep people like me out. So there's Butch. We're going to have to get the drone up for this. There's Gregg. Here's Duane. And Barry Oakley. See, right now you're going to see me, but I'm going to get the drone up and I might put some music, I don't know, I might put something over it, but I'm going to fly the drone over all of this. Alright, so that's it. There you go. The grave of pretty much the Allman Brothers at this point. Like, you've got Barry, Duane, Gregg, and Butch. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, I never thought in a million years I would be here, but thanks to you guys, we get to come do this together. Like, I really cannot thank you guys enough for all the kind words, the love, the support, everything that you give. I really do appreciate it. And I wonder when they unlock this, because there's like stuff on the graves, but we're going to kind of cheat a little bit anyway and fly the drone over. I guess if I wasn't so fat, I could hop the fence, but I'm fat and I can't do that. I get stuck. Plus, it probably, like right there's a good spot, you know. But yeah, because you can see where people have done it and broke those off. So yeah, thanks for watching. I always say you don't know how much I appreciate it, and you're right. Like, I really appreciate everything that you guys do, all the merch, all the stuff, right? All the comments. So don't forget to leave your comment down below about which one's your favorite and all that stuff. Like which song, which band member. I mean, we just visited all of them. Like, we've just visited the Allman Brothers. Like, wow. Gregg freaking Allman, man. Gregg Allman. Like, Midnight Rider. I mean, Butch Trucks, too. Like, Butch. Like, him and his wife, they started the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and it's really good too. Gregory Lenore Allman. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. You never know what you're going to find on the back roads. Thank you so much.